Well, I enjoyed my first video so much, I thought I'd make another one on how I set up in our family room to enjoy cracking walnuts. Now, this is the walnut cracker that I bought online through Amazon, and I had seen it on YouTube before. It's a lever operated jaws. It does one nut at a time. It does very, very well. And $45 was a lot better than the $500 walnut cracker I saw online. This one is the Steel Nutcracker by Nutcracker Tools. Like I said, it was about $45. So I mounted it to this collapsible sawhorse, so it's easy to store. I just fold the legs up and put it away. And as Red Green says, if they don't find you handsome, at least they ought to find you handy. Okay, I'm going to have to admit that winter's finally here. It's actually warmed up quite a bit. The last couple of days, the last 2 or 3 weeks, it reached actual temperature of 20 below most days for 2 weeks at least. And now today it's actually reached about 38, and of course the snow is starting to get, it's the kind of make a pretty good snowman. But I've got a mind to start cracking some more walnuts. Before Christmas, I went down to the shop and brought up a couple of buckets. I counted, in my last video, I counted about 300 nuts to a bushel. So I'd come down and I'd count out 300 and take them up to the house. In about an hour and a half, I could get them cracked and get the meats picked out. And I found 1 bushel of nuts would yield a full quart of nut meats. So I'm going to go down to the shed and get some more. In my last video, I'd spotted this tree with bushels and bushels of walnuts, but I had a ton of pallets that were in the way, and I had to get those moved and then get in there and clear all those weeds, and I got them all harvested. There's all those pallets I had to move. I just took it easy and moved them one at a time. No sense in getting a big hurry. It isn't like I'm working piecework or anything. And so we'll go in here and I'll show you the drying rack that I had fashioned. And when I built those frames with some 1x4s and this screen, I actually harvested 17 bushels of nuts, which, resulted in something over 5,000 walnuts. So, of course, I built the lid for the rack that keeps the critters out. And what did I do with my bucket? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll just count out another batch. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, and I'll just keep that up until I get 300. Doesn't take very long. Just a few minutes. If I lose count and get off a few, it won't matter. That'll make about a half a bucket. Take it up to the house and start cracking. And once I get that set up, I'll show you how I've done that. It's I found that as I crack the walnuts, the pieces would fly everywhere sometimes, and when the nut is cracked and it falls off to either side, it's kind of cumbersome to keep track of all the pieces. So I made this from old aluminum, sheet aluminum that I got. I had left over down by the shop, and I formed these funnels, and then I put cups to catch the pieces as they fall either left or right. And then when the cups are full, I just empty them into a bowl. So I've got the nuts to crack on this side. There are 300 nuts in that bucket, because that's about what a bushel of nuts amounts to. I spread newspapers on the floor, and that's to keep the love of my life happy with the mess that I make, because like I said, some of the pieces go flying. And because I'm so clever, I designed this shield to deflect some of the pieces that go flying into the funnels so the cups can catch them, and it makes a lot easier cleanup. Also, when I made these chutes out of aluminum, I put plastic laminate sheets of that. You can buy it 8x10 in the office supply stores. And I put that over the aluminum because it does have paint on it. I didn't want paint chips or even maybe some residue from the aluminum winding up in my walnuts. So I laminated those, and it actually worked pretty good. Of course, as you can see, the whole setup does take up some room. So I don't leave it set up very long. I just do one bushel at a time, and then I'm able to just put it away for a while. And now, with these bitterly cold temperatures outside, I really enjoy sitting down here and watching TV and extracting the meats from these walnuts. Okay, we'll saddle up, and I'll kind of see if I can show you how this works. I just sit down, and as you can see, I'm something of a television addict, and so rather than just sit here and crack walnuts, I like to watch TV while I'm doing it, watch some old movies. And so I cut a notch in the shield in order to be able to see through it. Okay, I found the walnut has a point on it, and you notice it's oblong, it's not round. If you want to crack a walnut with that point up, but if I lay the nut in the jaws of the cracker with the oblong perpendicular to the cracker, that's when the pieces go flying. Like that. So I found that if I take the walnut with a point up and put it in so the oblong is parallel to the cracker, it's a lot easier, and it crushes the nut more than make it explode. And then you see, as I crack, the pieces are going to go left and right, and they fall into the cups. And so, as I'm watching TV, through the cute little notch I put in my shield, I can just continue to crack until that's done. Now when the cups are full, I take them off the funnel, and I pour them in the bowl. Bring them back up. And I keep doing that until all of those are cracked. Then I have a whole nother setup for picking the meats out of the nut pieces. Pretty slick, I think. And now I've got the setup to get ready to start picking the meats from the walnuts. As you can see, it fills a pretty good sized tub, and I actually started, this was heaped up pretty good. I've already picked a few meats, and of course I just throw the shells in a bin between the legs, and then of course I'll take those out to the timber and just pitch them along the fence row. The squirrels will pick whatever meats might have been left in there. Got a pretty good start. Like I said, this will produce about a full quart of meats, and as I just take a handful and lay them out on a metal TV tray. Some of the pieces, like this, that's a real nice piece. Of course, that's real easy to separate, and I'm very careful to keep the meats separate from the chunks of shell. And here's another one. And then, of course, using a pick, just a standard nut pick. It comes with just about any set of a nut cracker used to crack hickory nuts and English walnuts and things. But just a pick like that, and then it's really not too difficult to work those meats out of the shell. If you're to take a piece like this, it's pretty much half a walnut. As you can see, it'd be pretty hard to, without cracking this again, it would be pretty hard to get that meat out. And so I don't waste a lot of time with those. You know, I just pitch those. The squirrels can have them. They got real sharp teeth. They can get right in there and get the good stuff. And then I pretty much try to concentrate on pretty good sized pieces, even though, as you can see, they're all sizes. And then later, when I get all of these cut or picked, I'll be able to put them in an oven about 240 degrees for about a half hour, 20 minutes, half hour. That'll dry them somewhat because they are pretty oily. And then I'll put them in a sanitized quart jar, airtight quart jar, and I'll just keep at it. It takes, oh gosh, it's going to take probably an hour and a half to get through that bin, but you know, got nothing better to do than watch TV. I took these out of the oven, about 250 degrees for 25 minutes, and they're just a little bit warm, but it dries them out very, very nice, and they are so yummy. Because you know I can't can them up in jars without eating a few. And so I went ahead and got the water boiling and sterilized some pint jars this time instead of a quart jar. And so I'll can those up, and I think, let's see, they're probably dried by now, ready to. And I just put the nuts in the jars and cap them up. And then, because I'm so creative, I even made a sheet of labels. So yeah, not that I'm such a neatnik, but I forget easy, and so this way I can remind myself when these were canned. Now I'm gonna have to start thinking about my next project, and I'm thinking I'm gonna try my hand at making some jelly. Well, you know, I said that I was gonna take my bits left over after I picked all my walnut meats, those pieces that I couldn't get the meats out of, or the empty shells, whatever, that I would take them out and give them to the squirrels, because they've got sharp teeth. They can deal with that. Ooh, I gotta kind of watch my step. That thaw we had where it went to 38 degrees. It was wonderful. And then it went below zero again. And so now we've got ice to deal with. Yeah, that's right. If an old man watches his step, if I fall, well, first thing to do, look around, see if anybody saw me. And then later, see if I can get back up. Okay, anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these pieces. Anyway, I dumped them out by this maple tree, and I made sure I got it within the barrier of the flower bed here, because I don't know if they would, sharp edges of those walnut shells would puncture a tire on my lawnmower. So, okay, I'm just gonna leave those there, and I should be able to watch the squirrels chow down, because I can see my bird feeders from here. And so, yeah, they got sharp teeth. Let them get fat.